This should be fun. Welcome, guys. In today's video, we're talking about boundaries with siblings when it comes to living together. And let me just set it straight that at the end of the day, whatever works for you, okay? But emphasis on works for you. It's not like one party in your marriage is angry and you're just using stubbornness or stronger to go with it, to say, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. But if it's working for you and you are like living in peace, then please, that's good for you, okay? Don't take anything I say in this video to be no, I didn't have to change it. I'm telling you, you don't have to. So specifically, the two people who inspired this video, one of them, their siblings live with her permanently. The other one, the siblings came visiting over a period of time, right? For the first one, the picture she sent to me even made me raise a brow, like are you okay? Let me paint the picture for you guys. The husband is sitting down on a long couch, say a two-seater, right? And then the wife's younger sister is sitting down next to him. So the scenario is that the guy was trying to teach the sister something on like a notebook, right? The wife's sister is sitting down wearing shorts. Okay, you're wearing shorts. Okay, fine. And then she goes ahead to raise her leg like this. So she's wearing shorts, guys. I could see like all this part of her bum. And the husband is sitting right here and she's sitting like this. So in a normal sane world, there is nothing wrong with the sitting position. But if you have shorts on, you need to call out this for what it is exactly. Like, I think another thing that even made me feel like you're tolerating nonsense under your nose is because she went ahead to tell me that she had noticed some things that she was not comfortable with between both of them. And I'm just like, whatever will make your sister have the temerity to come and sit like that beside your husband is already questionable for me, right? So I gave her good counsel, told her that, girl, this is not a conversation to be had with your husband, because if he hasn't done anything yet, then you better set your sister straight. If not, I don't know what this story will turn out to in the next couple of months or whatever. And we left it. This other one I got like last week, and the case was her sisters were visiting, and her case was even more than one. And she was just talking about how they just open the door without knocking and come into a matrimonial bed. They bring their clothes into her room to change, and she just needed to know what to do. So my first question was, without knocking and they come in, is your husband in the room? She says no for the most part. Okay. When they are changing in the room, is your husband in the room? She said no. That she's just not comfortable with that, whether her husband is in the room or not. She's just not comfortable. So for her, it's like, you need to hold my matrimonial bed sacred. And I'm just like, I mean, if that is your wish, then you're not over wishing. I was under a sermon one day, and the pastor actually said, your sister comes to your house, she's wearing your clothes in your matrimonial home. That's nonsense. That's a disrespect for your husband. And obviously I'm just sitting there like, okay, Holy Spirit, minister to me what will work for me in my circumstance, right? But I said all of that to say, there's been instances where siblings come into the house and they're sleeping with their husbands, sisters' husbands. There's been instances where siblings come into the house and they're rude, outrightly rude to their sisters' husbands, and like disrespectful. And my opinion is, for the first one, obviously, like I told you guys, I called it out straight up. Talk to your sister, set the boundary straight. Me, in that case, I've thrown you blankets. Like, if you don't get the message with blankets and you try it again, I'm going to embarrass you and tell you, go put on something sane. I don't like what you're wearing. Because at the end of the day, I feel like as women and as wives specifically, sometimes we forget our duty of discernment, right? And let's face it, some men are like, okay, it's harmless. And for some men, it's just like, as long as you have not expressly like ripped yourself out in front of me, I can say. But women, we are more discerning. We have like foresight to see, even though it might not be correct all the time, I've seen this card before. I've seen this card played out before, and I know where it leads. Do you get? And especially if you're now a spirit-filled, discerning woman, there are just some things that don't even let it start in my sight, so that will not even now be curing any disease. Like, nip it in the bud, right? And I just feel like a lot of times people, like the second girl who messaged me, she didn't want to step on toes, right? And this is not going to get you far. Now, what I told her is, because they don't then do it when your husband is around, is actually maybe because they don't feel like it has to do with him. So for them, they don't see the sacredness of the room. They see the room as any other part of the house, but you see it as something that you want them to respect and hold dear. I'm like, communicate it to them and do it in love. Especially, like, let's not lie that some people are just stuck out ignorant. Some kiddos, some siblings that know how to get your husband. Like, it's not even their spec in the first place. Don't be too special. However, they are totally ignorant, but there are things that can also come out from their ignorance, right? Which would then be something that will put everybody in a questionable situation, and you want to avoid that, right? So for her, I was just like, you know what? Start with telling them in love. If they barge into your room, say, where is this? My matrimonial home? Let's go. Let us still lock the door. The scenario I painted in my head was that maybe they've seen the husband in the living room and they know you are in the room, maybe with the baby or whatever, and they just come in and just open the door because they know that your husband is not there. But if you personally don't want it, honestly, I'm not going to shame to say, so what's there? Please don't ever say was there to anybody's circumstance, because you don't know what they've been through, you don't know what they've seen, you don't know the insecurities they are dealing with, right? Let them sort that out with their therapist. Now, that's another thing. Yes, there is the part of setting some firm boundaries, like, no, like what you want your sibling to call your husband, what you want your sibling to wear when your husband is present, how you want your sibling to enter your room and things like that. However, I also know that people have different insecurities that they carry about, which would influence how much of this, decisions they make. So for me, I always bring it to me. Like, and that's the thing. If you're ever in a position where maybe you're living with your sister and you feel like, her own is too much, you're judging her. You don't know her heart. You don't know the trust she's dealing with. At the end of the day, it might not even be about you. It might be about what she's seen on the husband's phone. And then that insecurity is being extended to you. For me, I'm just like, as long as I'm in your space, younger sisters, elder sisters, sisters-in-law, please respect the person working to put a roof over your head. And when I say the person, yes, it might be your brother paying the bills, but that wife and your brother are one. Respect their wishes. Like, how can you go to your sister's house even if you don't like it? The fact that this person is accommodating you, if you have an option, go to your option and do anyhow in your father's house. The reason you're in their house is because they are accommodating you. Whether or not you're adding value to them, helping them with the kids or whatever, that's not the question. Now, I know, trust me, I know there are levels to this. And this is why communication too is so important, which is what I told that babe. I'm like, the second one, I'm like, you need to communicate with your siblings. They probably don't see anything wrong with this, especially, like, I can imagine myself, like, the way I grew up, 4 girls, like, will not even think it's a problem if I see your husband in the room. I'm coming straight to your room without knocking, right? But I'm like, if she has a problem with it, then talk about it. She doesn't have to go into the intricacies of why she doesn't want this or why she's feeling insecure. But at least you understand that there's an insecurity up her sleeve that she's dealing with. Please respect that. And if you now feel like, your own is too much, or even ordinary knee length shorts is too much for you, number one, you can go back to your father's house. Number 2, you can escalate to your parents, or even talk to her to say, listen, sis, I don't know who you think is living with you, but I'm not here for anything other than just to have a roof over my head and help you. Like, I understand if you don't want me to wear bomb shorts, but shorts in my knee, how does that affect anything? Please, let's talk about it and be respectful. And this was one of the things I told the babe. Whatever end of the scope you're on is the fact that there is a right way to say the right thing. If you don't communicate in love, there's a lot of things that can be misunderstood. But please respect each other's wishes and remember whose house it is you're living in, okay? And respect them. For the wives, please don't be timid. Use your words. Like, you have to speak up, especially when you see that some things are not adding up. Like, your husband and your sister are lying down on the same bed, and then you've seen some things that doesn't make sense to you. Just don't even feel like, okay, all of us are still, it's you and your husband that are one. Do you understand? If you're not comfortable with it, based on nuances you've caught, call it out immediately. But always remember, especially in the beginning, there is a right way to say the right thing. Another thing I would say is you need to establish your rules ahead of time. And I think that is one thing that just saves a lot of stress. It's like, before your sister came to your house, you're watching this and maybe you're planning to accommodate your sister-in-law, please set your rules ahead of time. It's a no-brainer. Like, you want to come to us, okay, and all in love, right? But here are a few things that housekeeping rules that we must adhere to, and just state it out. Like I said, obviously you two don't be ridiculous, but things that will tick your box as disrespectful, spell it out and just give them that boundary, so that when they are doing it, it's like, I told you before you came here, don't even stress me, like, don't give me any crap or trouble. I told you, okay? Now, it's not enough to set those boundaries, you need to uphold them, because the truth is slippery. I don't know if you've heard that before. Like, sometimes, like, okay, once I can go 5 miles, I can go 10. Personally, once I've set the boundary, if I see it, I'm quick to talk about it and call it out, because I told you. So that it's not like, but you allowed it that one time. Like this babe too, even though, yes, I said there's a right way to say the right thing, but say it anyway. At the end of the day, I'm going to wrap it up with the fact that discernment is key. Especially for the women of the house, discernment is key. Sometimes it's a very harmless situation. It's so harmless that you're the one actually, counting minutes to it, and you know it. But if you also smell a rat, please set a trap, okay? So that the good you've done will not be used against you in your life, in your marriage, okay? But yeah, let me know. This is one of those interesting ones that I actually would like to get your feedback on. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you've accommodated your siblings before, how did that turn out? Have you had problems? If your siblings live with you, do you have any regrets? And yeah, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul. I'll